Have you played games like Monopoly, Clue, or Yahtzee? Then chances are that you are familiar with the standard six-sided dice. But did you know that dice can have 8, 10, or even 12 sides? There's even a 20-sided die used in the popular game Dungeons & Dragons, which was invented right here in Wisconsin.
With D&D, you have a D20 system, which means that the main dice rolled is 20 sides.
The D20 is really crucial to Dungeons & Dragons. And what I like about Dungeons & Dragons is that you can do anything, like within the narrative world. You can just do whatever you want, but the D20 is what makes the gameplay feel realistic, because it brings an element of chance.
Though it is an important object to Wisconsin's cultural history, the 20-sided die is no new invention. The die has been around for a very long time, over 2,000 years to be precise. Archaeologists have linked the 20-sided die to both ancient Egypt and ancient Rome. We don't know exactly how or why they used such a complex object, but it is most likely that they used it in the same way that we use it today, to play a game and have fun.
Both of the two times that we've tried Dungeons and Dragons, it was really like we spent most of the time laughing. I think it is really fun.
That's what Gary Gygax had in mind for the die when he invented Dungeons & Dragons, or D&D for short, in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin in 1974. Along with co-founder Dave Arneson, Gygax used a complex die for a complex game.
Everything you do in Dungeons & Dragons revolves around a die roll, right? Like, perception check, roll a die. You're gonna try to throw something at somebody, roll a die. You're gonna try to convince somebody of something, roll a die. I feel like...
In what order are you going to do something?
Roll a die.
When playing D&D, each player chooses a character to play as. D&D gives your imagination some exercise as you cross rivers of lava, pull swords from stone, and slay dragons. If you think these things are easy, think again. Often, you need to roll the 20-sided die to see if you're successful in these fantastic quests. If you roll high, it's on to more adventures. Don't roll too low though, or you may end up as dragon food.
And with D&D, if you get a 1, it's not great. You call that like a nat 1 or a crit fail.
Sure enough, I got really unlucky rolls, and I have been getting really unlucky rolls. I think there's a rule where on the 20-sided die, if you roll a 1, you drop your weapon, and I've been dropping my weapon a lot, right? Like a lot.
So you're kind of good for nothing.
I'm good for nothing.
And then if you get a 20, you got a nat 20, which is a crit success, right? Crit for critical.
Sometimes you roll a D20 and it like supports the narrative that you're creating with your characters, and those moments can be really satisfying. So I remember one moment with my party where there's another character who was a fighter, and he was like really arrogant, and he was playing the person in the party was playing a character you love to hate. Like, we like the guy, but you hate the character. And he had this huge sword, and he was trying to like break open a chest or something with it, and he kept hitting it, and he kept failing. And so someone else in the group who was like a very like weak character came up and was like, well, let me try it. And they rolled a D20, or they rolled a 20 on their D20, which means that they got a critical hit, which means you could basically do whatever you want. And it was satisfying in that moment to see like the little character succeed over the jerk.
Even if you roll a 1, that moves the story forward. And that's kind of the core of Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop role-playing games overall. It's that role-play element, right? You are there to kind of collaboratively tell a story. And success is great and gives you a wonderful feeling, but failure also moves the story forward.
In fact, D&D has been a fun experience for millions of people around the world over the years.
So mostly I'll play with people online, and as a result I've played with people from Brazil, England, Australia, New Zealand, all across the United States that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to play with.
All around the world, people would recognize the 20-sided D&D die at first sight, an object whose exciting, fantastic quest began right here in Wisconsin.